With Fall Guys' first competitive cycle coming to an end, I managed to reach the game's final rank, that being Superstar, and I have some thoughts on Ranked Knockout. With this being the first competitive cycle, as they call it, I want to first set the scene. Ranked mode has been highly anticipated since we learned it was being worked on back in May 20th, 2023. We'd even get a look at the rank badges a few months after, in December of 2023. All of this is thanks to FG Leaks over on Twitter. I never made a video strictly about Fall Guys leaks, but upon learning about Ranked, I just had to. As someone who's been playing the game for years, this was something I was greatly looking forward to. The fact they released Ranked mode on April 1st of all days is honestly hilarious for more reasons than one, but I will say it's very on brand for them to do so. And I thought they would have released Ranked mode a week or so after the update so people wouldn't think it's an April Fool's joke. Glad they chose to release it on that day. In my Fall Guys 2025 prediction video, I predicted that Ranked would come out during the game's 5th year anniversary or on August 4th, which would have been legendary, but April 1st was a Tuesday and they typically release updates on Tuesdays. And hey, how many games can you say released their rank mode on April 1st? Mediatonic on February 4th, 2025, or on day 1 of the Fall and Fantasy update would release a newsfeed announcing that Ranked will be coming in the next update, more specifically Ranked Knockout. They've never announced something so far from release. They didn't even do this for the mobile port, which I find to be even crazier, but they probably couldn't since it was tied to the release of the mobile version of the Epic Game Store. So it really wasn't their choice anyway, so I won't blame them for that. But I will blame Mediatonic for the lack of information and failing to seize the moment and build hype for the Ranked mode. I get that you don't want to outshine your new update, but couldn't you have talked about it earlier? We got 2 posts about Ranked before it was released, one on March 11th and the other on March 28th. Both are about as lame as you can imagine. Couldn't they have shown or talked about anything relating to the mode, what the badges look like, or tease a slideshow featuring Hypebean, maybe a mini Q&A about Ranked? Like, you have a Discord server, that would have been the perfect place to do like a Q&A. They would release a YouTube trailer for Ranked Knockout as well as a blog post on the website, but this was when the mode was released and not before. And while they don't make trailers and blog posts for every single update, this is sort of the bare minimum they could do. I'm glad they made the newsfeed posts, I really am, but they could have done a little bit more promotion. I suppose Mediatonic wanted to keep Ranked Knockout under wraps and not reveal too much as a way to drum up as much excitement as possible. And I get that, cause you don't want to overshare and overhype it since it's nothing earth-shattering to most of the player base. But we only got 2 social media posts in total about Ranked Knockout. Like, are we serious? And this is unproven and just my sort of like 10-hat theory, but the cynic in me assumes they didn't want to spend the money or time on a promotion campaign for a game mode. So 2 in-game newsfeed and 2 social media posts were what we got. Either way, I was excited for Ranked and I'm sure most of the player base were as well. The round pool is the main attraction when it comes to whether or not a show will be good or not. And oddly enough, Ranked Knockout has 30 levels, and while regular Knockout has 30 as well, it used to have 40. We aren't sure why they reduced the round pool. If only they had an account where they could talk about stuff like this. I mentioned this in my first impressions video on the Ranked Knockout update, aka for 7 days. But even though we have 30 maps, it feels like we have 10 because of how repetitive and boring it got after a while, especially during the first few days of the update. I started playing Ranked Knockout on April 4th and got to Superstar on April 8th, and I had to suffer through Treasure Trove and Bubbling Brook. For the first 4 days, I played more points round than any other creative type. Hell, I played more points round than anything else in the first 4 days. Thanks to Fall Guys stats, I was able to find out exactly how much and what round type I played the most in the first 4 days. In total, I played 50 race rounds, 4 survival, 69 points, 13 creative survival finale rounds, and 26 unity survival rounds. If you're curious, here's my stats from the start of Ranked to the end, because I did play a few more games while live streaming on my Twitch. The reason why I brought up my first 4 days is that a day after I reached Superstar, or on April 9th, they removed Bubble Trouble and Treasure Trove and replaced them with Slime Climb and Slime Saloon. The official Fall Guys Twitter page even made a post about it, and honestly, a great move. Treasure Trove is seemingly gone from regular Knockout as well, and you know what? Good riddance. It was just an awful map and it kept appearing way too much. Bubble Trouble being removed was a good choice as well, although it can still be played in solos, squads, and duos, just not in either knockouts. Adding Slime Climb and Slime Saloon was a stroke of genius, one creative and one classic to fill in the gap, and both are well-liked maps that require skill to traverse, whereas the other 2 were slightly more luck-based. This change was done due to player demand, and I'm glad they listened to player feedback and actually implemented the changes. Like, some developers and publishers and such can say, oh, oh, we'll listen to player feedback and just do nothing. No, Izzytorium actually listened and actually implemented the damn change. However, this wouldn't be the only change they make. On April 14th, they removed Tundra Run from both knockouts. This was due to an exploit and where players with poor internet connection could teleport to the finish line. It got replaced with Big Fence, which was only available in the classic game modes. And honestly, an okay replacement, I suppose. However, on April 16th, they removed Treetop Tumble from ranked and regular knockout due to the same issues as Treetop Tumble and replaced it with Dizzy Heights. Like, what? That is a horrible replacement. Skyline Stumble would have been a better choice, and it's similar in vein to Treetop as well. The only map that got deleted from existence is Treasure Trove. The rest can still be played in the classic modes. I will say I'm glad they didn't go nuclear and remove them from every mode. Though I'm sure there are maps that people hate, like Button Bashers, which I personally only got once during my playthrough to Superstar. And oddly enough, people really hate Frantic Factory, which I was shocked to learn about during my live streams on Twitch. I personally don't mind the level, but they could have replaced it with Bounce Party if people got fed up enough. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of classic or Unity made point levels they can add into Ranked Knockout. The ones that aren't in Ranked Knockout are pretty luck based for the most part, and people will get fed up if they added, say, Volleyball to Ranked. Oh god, I could just imagine them adding Volleyball to Ranked Squads or Ranked Duels and people would absolutely lose their minds. Unfortunately, Izzytorium haven't used the Unity game engine to make levels in over 2 years now. And plus, they didn't really make a lot of points or hunt rounds as I recall back in the day, so we really don't have much options. The round pool for Ranked Knockout is decent, I suppose. I just wish we didn't get the same few maps so often, which makes it so boring to play through. Only maps I'd remove and replace are Bubbling Brook, Dizzy Heights, and Hexagon. And maybe Blast Ball. I'd replace Bubbling Brook with Chicken Gulch, Dizzy Heights with Skylar Stumble, Hexagon with Hexa Ring. Hexa Ring requires a lot more skill than Hexagon, and while I didn't get Blast Ball all that much, only got it 5 and out of 57 finales, it being in a ranked mode is crazy work. Would have rather had Jump Showdown, but remember, this is Fall Guys and they want to make it to where anyone can win, and you need finales and where newbie players can have a chance of winning. But I do get people's frustrations with having luck-based levels. Blast Ball does have an element of skill to it, so to me it's not all bad. I know people are going to say they want Button Bashers removed from ranked, but if you know the strats, the map is so fun and I personally love it. Depending on how much experience you have in Fall Guys, Ranked Knockout will either be a breeze or a nightmare. And as previously mentioned, it took me 4 days to reach Superstar, and I personally found it to be easy, maybe a bit too easy. For the first 4 ranks or half the ranks, if you fail to qualify on round 1, you'll still earn points. For instance, in Rookie and Contender, the game's first 2 ranks, you could lose round 2 and get 15 points, and you need 75 points to go up a sub rank, so like Bronze 1 to Bronze 2 for example, meaning if you're in Contender, all you have to do is reach round 2 15 times and you'll go up a rank. Doing this 30 times and you'll make it to bronze. And as you progress through the ranks, you will need more points to progress through the sub ranks. Along with that, the amount of points you gain from each round will depend on what rank you're in. Unless you're someone who's either a total beginner or on a bad streak, you'll at least win a game or 2, and doing so will give you enough points to go up a sub rank. This is true whether you're in Contender or Star, and I really don't know how to feel about that. It makes climbing the ranks trivial, makes it a lot less of a test of skill and more of a test of patience. Though once you reach gold, you do lose points if you fail to move past round 2. Unless you lose in round 1, you're able to recover most of your points, plus you don't de-rank or go down to say silver if you're in gold. And yes, while you do go down sub ranks, there's no real sense of fear or really urgency if you go down in points. Fall Guys is a casual game at the end of the day, so I wasn't expecting the ranked mode to be a super grind fest, and in some ways I'm glad it's not. Don't get me wrong, I do think it's a tad too easy, but I get it. Mostly kids, casuals, and people with limited time make up the bulk of the player base, so you want to make the ranked mode easy and fun to climb, so they keep coming back for more. Plus, ranked modes in video games just have this sort of prestige. You know, when you reach like Star or Superstar or whatever rank you're in, you definitely just feel accomplished. You definitely just want to try more. Like if you reach say Ace at the end of the ranked competitive cycle, you're like, dang, I could have done better. I'll come back for the next competitive cycle cycle and try to reach superstar. You just don't really feel accomplished unless you get to the goal that you're reaching for in ranked. But look, I feel like earning a full sub rank up by winning one game is way too much, especially an ace and above. Although I'm okay with it in the first 3 ranks, in almost every game with a ranked mode, ranks are supposed to indicate a player's skill level. But in this game, it's mostly an indicator of how much time you've put in, because a gold player really isn't that much better than someone in star, because you could climb up by making it to round 3 and never really seeing the finale. You don't even need to qualify on round 3, you just have to make it there. The thing I could see people arguing about is that when you reach star, if you lose round 2, you lose 20 points, and to get even or to back where you were, you need to make it to round 4. And this will sound harsh, and I understand it's Fall Guys, but if you're losing round 2 in star to the point where you're pissed off, it's a skill issue. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm Filipino assassin or anything. I've definitely lost my fair share of ranked knockout games. Heck, I think I even lost one time in round 1 of ranked knockout. I believe I was already in superstar, and for the game where I lost in round 2, I think I was also in superstar, or maybe like star or something. I'll post some spreadsheets containing my data from Fall Guys stats so you can analyze my ranked knockout sort of games from the start of the ranked all the way to the end. This is something I learned from my Twitch chat, but apparently you can leave during a game of ranked and don't get punished, as in you don't lose points, which is just insane. It feels like an oversight. If we ever get ranked squads or ranked duos, people will just leave if they get a bad team or they're on the brink of losing and just leave scot-free. You cannot report them after the fact, so they'll most likely face no suspension or warning. No matter how casual and lighthearted you want your ranked mode to be, being able to call it quits and face no punishment is insane. It's bonkers. However, with the amount of disconnections and crashes I get while playing this game, I can see why they chose not to punish people who leave, since it could be the game's fault. And God knows I've played a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe games where my game DCs and I lose like 30 points. Once you reach superstar, there's no real incentive to continue playing, as you already reached the end and earned your reward. I have no idea if other games with ranked modes do this, but receiving your reward at the end of the update or the end of a competitive cycle is just strange. Like, I wished we received it the second we rank up. It's not like we can D-rank or anything. I'll talk about my thoughts on the rewards themselves in the next section, but suffice to say, I find this competitive cycle to be super easy and hope they make it a little bit more challenging. As I previously stated, the round pool is okay, though a little on the short side, which made it repetitive after a while, especially with points. On one hand, having the round pool be the same no matter what rank you're in is great and allows you to practice and get better. On the other hand, it leads to the mode feeling boring. Since you don't D-rank, having more difficult maps like Slime Climb and Slime Scraper appear in, say, gold and above wouldn't be that bad of an idea. Or make it to where once you reach gold, you can't get Hexagon and instead you could get Hexaring. Hexagon is a lot more RNG and could be great for the lower ranks, though I wouldn't get too extreme with locking maps behind ranks, as most of the player base probably won't get past gold or maybe even silver. I knew they wouldn't lock ranked mode behind a crown requirement, and what I mean by that is make it to where you need to earn 30 crowns in order to have ranked mode unlocked, or reach a certain crown rank, then you're able to play ranked knockout. But when they release ranked squads and duos, people are going to feel the pain of having a total newbie queue up for ranked when they've never played a normal game of Fall Guys in their lives, because they think, oh, it's a game for kids, it can't be that hard. Them disabling the ability for a party to queue up for ranked knockout is great. I don't know why I'm saying this, but thank you, Neotonic. I feel like they should have disabled piggybacking in general for ranked, because what's even the point? I know it's disabled in the classic or unity levels, but why not in general? Just weird. I'm grateful to say in my 60 games of ranked knockout, I didn't meet a single hacker. And looking back at it, it's pretty silly to say this, but it was the part I was most worried about and would have been make or break for me. Have you encountered a hacker while playing ranked knockout? Comment below and let me know. Want to quickly mention how it feels like the game doesn't pair you up with others who are close in rank to you. I swear, I get ranked up with people who are in contender while I'm in superstar. Look, I get it. As you climb the ranks, the less people you're going to meet who are similar in rank to you, but the gap shouldn't be this noticeable. Makes me feel bad for the rookie players out there. Can't imagine getting a super sweat after you struggle to make it to the finale and losing. I'll be honest, I was shocked to hear that they removed SBMM or skill-based matchmaking from the regular modes. I didn't think they would, to be honest with you, and I'm glad to see it. Great move, Neotonic, great move. Overall, I find the first competitive cycle ranked knockout to be baby mode. First off, I want to mention that these show information slides are absolutely incredible. I was not expecting that. They're just so bouncy and full of life. I wish they would rework the how to play slides to be something like this. Great summary and great explanation. I wasn't expecting them to give away crowns and especially not give away kudos. Sounds stupid looking back at it, but I thought they would have only given away cosmetics, but I'm very happy with kudos and crowns being rewarded. At first, I was given the impression that you get to keep everything you've unlocked from the previous tiers or they would stack up. However, you only gain the rewards from the highlighted rank, aka the one you're currently on. And while it does make sense, because if you were able to keep all the rewards from the previous tiers, it would make climbing the crown ranks a joke and make crowns even more useless. I felt the quantity of kudos and crowns is okay, especially with how easy it is to climb. It's just disappointing how the only cosmetics we got were emoticons and a full costume. Hopefully it won't be like this in the future, but getting only one emoticon is crazy work. And also how you get the Supreme Idol costume in both Star and Superstar. And I was pretty confused at first. It's not like it's the lower and then the upper half. No, it's the full costume, which makes grinding to Superstar useless if you only want the costume, that is. And while it is nice and all, it would have been awesome if the final costume was Hype Bean or maybe Magic Dragon. Listen, I still have hope we will get it as a ranked reward. With them giving away 2 cosmetics, they could have given away emoticons, emotes, and wearables in say Ace and a full costume in Star and Superstar. Having 2 different full costumes be given away would have been awesome, but I just don't see them doing that. But hey, I would love to be wrong though. Either way, the cosmetic rewards are disappointing this time around, but I wouldn't be surprised if this will be the formula. A few emoticons in a full costume. And the same costume can be earned in Star and Superstar. Just like, where's the variety? Could see them swapping out emoticons for phrases, or maybe swapping out the emoticons for emotes. You wouldn't get like an emoticon, a phrase, an emote. No, it would either be like 4 phrases, 4 emoticons, or 4 emotes. Regardless of everything I said, I'm super happy ranked mode is here after all these years. And even though I knew it was going to be easy and said so in my what ranked mode means for Fall Guys video, it just felt a little too easy. It's great that Miotonic are listening to player feedback and actually making changes, though we'll have to see if this carries over into the future. I do fear for ranked solos round pool because they removed 10 maps from normal or regular knockout and they want to keep the round pools between the regular and ranked the same. So will ranked solos and ranked squads or duos as a result follow suit, or will they have different round pools than their non-ranked counterparts? And with them removing maps from both versions of knockout, if a map has exploits or is bugged, will they remove it from both the regular and ranked version, just like they did with Treetop and Tundra Run, because those maps are in solos at the moment. I could see the round pools for the classic ranked modes be different, and I think that would be ideal and allow them to have total control of what maps appear in ranked solos and for ranked duos and squads as well. Special thank you to our Max Tour aka $5 members, Jumpin' Runnin', Deckle, The Editor, Axel Profi, T-Man, and the Salt TM for your support as always.